Hi everyone, and welcome to our 2025 first episode of Grillaways. It's January. Everyone just had a very busy holiday season, and so it's time to take it easy and create some simple meals, which includes a simple cooking method. We went with a very small portable grill this time. We've got the Elite Gourmet, and we're gonna see how it performs with some chuck steaks today. All right, let's see what comes in here. It's a very small box, incredibly light, and we're just gonna pull it out here. Oops, we're already losing things. And it looks like setup is gonna be pretty non-existent here. It's a tiny little circle grill. This is electric. It even comes with a cover, and you just plug it in here. So it looks like all of the pieces are wrapped nicely, but it's pretty much in position for how it needs to be utilized. We'll just gonna unwrap it. Take the plastic off. It's got this little ledge that fits in this hole right here to stabilize the grill as it sits on the inside. It does come with a glass cover, and that is what flew off the table, was just the little handle to go on top of that. So that's probably the one thing you'll need to screw in, and then you can get started as soon as you plug in your electric. So these are the two plastic pieces. They actually do fit together by just turning it if it's not simple at first. So it's a seamless connection, and then you can put that right on top of your lid and screw it in from the other side here. And I put the washer on the inside. And because the knob turns too, voila, even without a screwdriver, we're in business, and that can just sit right over the top if you need to close the heat source for any reason. We live in Florida and it's 40 degrees outside today, so we're looking forward to getting this thing on so we can use it as a fire pit. All right, this just plugs in right in the side here, and that is setup done. It took us less than 2 minutes. All right, we do have a couple of pieces of tape on the side here that will need to be removed. There's 2 pieces. Okay, if I could get it. 1 and 2, and then this pulls out here, and what that is your drip tray. That's your grease tray right there, which is very nice. You can see on the inside of this grate there is a hole in the grill, and it drips right down into there, and it's just a closed container that slides right in. So that's really nice that it actually has a drip tray. We do have our electric plugged in here, so we're ready to go. And once you're plugged in, you just turn this little dial, and as you turn it, you can see the light turns on right there, so you can get it to the heat that you'd like it. So we're gonna start heating up our grill and get ready for our steaks. It looks like this goes to 450 degrees, so that's the hottest that this grill gets. But for such a tiny little indoor portable electric grill, that's pretty good. And the amount of electricity that this uses should be very minimal. So even if you're on a campsite and you do find a power source, it's something that could probably plug in without using a lot of energy. We'll cover it up to make sure it gets nice and hot. Okay, so today we have 2 chuck steaks. We knew that this was a small portable grill, so I wanted to get some thin steaks to be realistic on how well this grill could cook it with the dusted seasoning and still get a nice char on the outside. Right now our grill's heating up. You can actually feel it if you put your hands over the lid, but you do have this nice plastic handle so you don't actually have to touch the glass that is heating up. But what's really nice is if you touch the outside of the grill here, it's not hot at all. So it's movable while it's heating. You can see there's two little slots underneath where you can put your hands on it and even move it from space to space. We've used an electric frying pan and an electric portable surface inside the office before, and that whole thing gets so hot, even if you touch the dial on the heat, you're gonna burn your hands. You gotta use a hot pad for it. So the fact that this one is only heating up the actual surface where you're cooking the meat is very nice. All right, we're gonna dust these steaks and see how this baby performs. Okay, so as you can see, our steaks have been dusted. Typically the rule of thumb is the thinner the steak, the less dusted you should use. It is a salt-based activated charcoal seasoning, so with any seasonings, you can be much more liberal the thicker the piece of meat to make sure that flavor gets all the way through. Our grill's been heating for probably 7 minutes now, and so we're gonna go ahead and throw those steaks on. The light has gone off over here by our little 450 mark, which means it's met the temperature that we were looking for. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw these steaks on and see how this little portable grill actually works. We have put olive oil on our steaks just to make sure they don't stick to the grill. It is brand new. The grates look nice and seasoned, and you can hear that sizzle putting them on. I'm gonna leave the cover off for now. We'll see how they cook without it, and if we need it, we'll throw it back on. Okay, typically I would cook a steak for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side if it was at least 3/4 to an inch thick. These are a little bit thinner, so I'm gonna turn them right now. The light has come back on our little electric plug-in piece here. Just showing that the lid's off and it's continuing to work to stay at that 450 degrees heat. But let's see what the grill marks look like. Actually, I'm really impressed. It's got some nice grill marks on it. It's kind of like a little George Foreman, but I'll be honest, the dusted seasoning is nicely charred and it looks great. So we're gonna flip these over for another 2 minutes. This one looks even better. So interesting, that one was in the center of the grill. This one was more towards the left side, and it has gotten even a little bit more of a char on it. So the heat source must be very close to this plug-in right here. Must be a little bit hotter on that grill. But you can see size-wise, even though it's a tiny little circle, it's actually doing a great job with 2 steaks on it at the same time. You could probably fit 3 burgers and 2 steaks, maybe 3 chicken breasts. So it's not for cooking for 10 people at any one time, but it is doing a great job searing. Smoke content, is it smoky? Yes. Do you have the ability to cover it up? Absolutely. If you were in your house, I would put a vent on, but again, if you're in your camper or on a campsite, no big deal at all. This is very minimal smoke compared to some of the grills that we use, and it's staying confined to one area. Obviously, there's no fire underneath because it is electric, so it's not causing any major smoke to come out. And it does look like the grease on the inside is moving towards that hole and getting out of the way. This will be a very simple clean after the fact where you can take it into the kitchen and just wipe down this surface. That comes right out. So these are almost done, and we were just saying this is an absolute perfect grill to have in an apartment, especially if you live alone or if you're living with 2 people. You're not allowed to have gas on your balcony or they don't want the liability. This is amazing. It's doing a great job grilling these. It's a different option aside from a George Foreman, and I will tell you, the price point on this grill is pretty incredible. It comes in under $50, and you can get yourself a nice char grill on a steak like you would using a Weber. Look at that grill. All right, I think we're gonna take these off. I don't like my steak too overcooked, so we'll see how it did. And there's the other one. Beautiful char grill on both sides. It's a thin steak, so we're just gonna take them off and let them rest for a few minutes, and we'll turn the heat off right here. So as you can see, there actually isn't a huge mess on the grill. There are some grease drippings that we'll be able to clean very easily off. But for cooking 2 steaks, they're chuck steaks. Chuck is one of the fattiest meats there is. There really isn't that big of a mess. All right, we're gonna cut into the steak and see how it cooked. Remember, these are thin, so while there's tons of juice pooling, it does look like it's definitely a medium finish. But for 2 minutes on each side, it's nice and pink. Okay, there's a beautiful char on the outside of this steak. It looks like it's been seasoned well with dusted. I'm gonna take a bite and see how it compares to some of the other grills. It's delicious. The steak is juicy. We did a very quick cook on these, just a couple minutes on either side because of the thinness of the steak. But honestly, if someone served this to me in a restaurant, if I was at someone's barbecue, I would have never guessed in a million years it came off of a tiny little portable electric grill. So the Elite Gourmet has more than impressed today in terms of its ability to cook a steak. I got thin steaks thinking that it was going to have lower heat, but it stayed at 450 almost the entire time we were cooking. We left the lid off. Obviously, if you even put the lid on, it would contain that heat even better, but I wanted to get a nice char on the steak. So I left it off and didn't want it steaming and overcooking in there. I would trust this to do a ribeye next time. I think you could get an inch and a half ribeye. It would only probably have enough space for one if it was a large steak, but I think that you could really play around with this thing and do some onions and peppers on there. The opportunities are endless, even though it's a small service. If you're by yourself or with somebody else and you're looking for an inexpensive, great option, I would definitely recommend the Elite Gourmet. And don't forget, with our Grillaways program, we do give these grills away for free if you happen to be one of the lucky winners and you're a Dusted subscriber. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you go to orderitdusted.com, either on our recipes page or our Grillaways page, and all you gotta do is throw in your name and your email and you'll have your very own chance to win not only this grill, but a bunch of the amazing grills and Dusted steak seasoning that we test all the time in this studio. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.